The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ultimate.tv.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member
and fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Hello, hello, and welcome. We have a game for you right here. Day 4, World Masters Ultimate Club Championships coming to you live from sunny, and I'm not even lying this time, Limerick, Ireland. We'll see how long that sun lasts for. In our last game slot of the day, here on Field 2, we have a team all the way from Bogota, Colombia, Club Communidad El Oso against Indonesia's very first team to attend the World Championships, Birds of Paradise. I am here, Troy Weston, along with my wonderful co-commentator, Mr. Lorcan Murphy. How are you today? Murphy? Did I say Murphy? Murray. Doing a real good job today.
Well, it's okay. If you want to equate me with the third best stout produced on this fine island, I will accept it. So, how am I doing? I am very excited for this matchup. It's rare we get to see such a flavour of international Ultimate here in Limerick. I mean, a lot of the times we do have the Siege of Limerick, we have teams come, but they're generally from Europe. You watch some of the major streaming platforms, you see a lot of Americans and Canadians, a couple of other people, but you really don't get too many opportunities to see the likes of Communidad, Club El Oso, or Birds of Paradise, and you definitely don't get many opportunities to see them go up against each other. So, Singapore versus Colombia. Who do you have?
This is a tough call. Both of them are coming in with a 1-3 record from the first part of the tournament. Both teams, unfortunately, not taking a game in their pool play, but both of them managed to win their first game in the power pools. So each team with a 1-3 record. This is going to be an interesting game to watch. And the pull is up with Birds of Paradise starting on offense.
Something I love about seeing these teams from places you don't normally get to interact with is what kind of offense are they going to run?
Oh, a big diving bid right out of the gate from Guerin, but he could not get his hand around that. And Oso will have their first chance to get a break.
So I like the ambition being shown early. You take that shot, huge bid as well, which kind of reveals what Birds of Paradise are going to be willing to do to their bodies for the sake of a W.
Oso with the disc now. Figuera dumps it back to Lynn. Finding a nice midfield throw over into the end zone. Player looking to box out. There will be a foul on that reception there. Delgado underneath that disc for Oso. Thought she had a piece of it before a foul was called.
And I like this ambition. I like this bravery from both offenses. They are taking shots, throwing them to the end zone. I don't enjoy the fact that people keep seeming, I think they're trying to signal foul by putting an X above their head, which might have been what it used to be, but a foul generally is a hand on the arm. X above the head can mean injury, but that was also changed to clasping your two hands like that. So just a little bit of confusion on our part when the hand signals.
But we are starting to sort them out.
That's contested. Two fists knocking against each other, that's definitely a contested foul.
So the disc will come back to Ferdella. Looking for his thumb, almost a miscommunication, but Kaiser manages to grab it.
That's the hand signal for pick. It's kind of like forming two goalposts with your arms.
With clenched fists, not to be confused with open fists, meaning score. Nice leading pass there to Alfaro. Finds Lynn. And back to Kaiser. And another pick. We're seeing a nice early end zone stack here from Oso. Looks like Lynn's trying to clear back in, and we've got a bit of a isolation in the front. Ferdella now with the disc. A streaking Lynn coming, screaming for the disc, instead shoots it to Kaiser to the sideline. Ferdella. A wide open, looked to be a wide open receiver in the end zone, but that is picked off by Birds of Paradise, now coming the other way.
Laying the trap and springing it.
That was Banyas with that D for Birds of Paradise. High release backhand for that up the line, keeping it in tow. Big huck to the end zone. But I think Lynn may have gotten a piece of that.
Really nice defensive pressure by Lynn to shut down that option. Same third, hucking, not always my favorite thing to go for. You don't give your receiver a lot of room to maneuver. There was a nice wide swing on that, but still, it's always going to be difficult to take down.
Very difficult to make that pinpoint throw in the same third. As you were saying, if you are striking from a different third of the field, it's much easier to read the disc, really give yourself a lot of room to run onto it. Oso coming up now with the disc. And this time it is Lynn's defender who will knock that out of the air, Handiani. Salzman with the disc and swings it to Banyas, who can't keep it in his hands. Oso. Lynn now with the disc. And an arcing forehand looking for the end zone. Finds it with a sliding catch by Alfaro. Nice first point and a break from Oso out of the gate.
Really impressive catch by Alfaro. Lynn hung that one up there for her first assist of the tournament, which I find very hard to believe because that disc came out beautifully and went exactly where she intended it to go. That's Alfaro's 5th goal, and you can see why he is a streaking receiver, difficult to contain and very good at bringing that disc down. Got his body behind it. So we're going to have another look. Came out clean, no flutter. Not the easiest to catch, but well done by Alfaro, and a break to open in this battle to try and top Pool Q.
I'm really liking both of the jerseys on both these teams. Oso with the bright yellow and the green splash of color, And then Birds of Paradise have this really colorful leaf and some kind of watercolor feathers maybe going in there for a mix. Just really cool jersey designs on both sides.
It's always nice when you can see the clash of colors, when you see the clash of countries and Frisbee cultures. Although honestly, it seems like their style of play is fairly similar. A lot of undercutting, trying to hit the uprushing handlers into power positions and setting up those shots to the end zone. So it's going to be a matter of who can execute better as this game progresses.
And we have Stephen Lynn with the pull. Birds of Paradise picking up, choosing to bring the disc to the brick mark. And an interception, a well-read pass there from Stephen Lynn. Just manages to get in there. Now he waits for his team to set something up in the end zone. Robbins now. Back to Lynn. And there will be a pick call. And a violation. Teams really need to check, make sure everyone on the field is ready before tapping that disc in. That's usually what causes the violations after the stoppage calls. Kim now, back to Lynn. And back to Kim. And a huge layout bid. What a beautiful defense from Chin on Birds of Paradise. Soaring through the air there.
There's a pick called downfield as we're going to have another look at that phenomenal layout bid. Shutting it down.
That is one for the highlight reels for sure. So the disc will come back to the handler. Chalice now with the disc, looks for that floaty flick huck, and it will be brought down by Lynn. Fraser now with the disc on the sideline. Just in time for another pick.
Oh, and a miscommunication on that pass. I was really expecting Communidad to finish it off.
Shaw with the disc on the sideline, and a
huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone, just diving forward and denying what should have been an easy score, and now streaking in the opposite direction, but sending it downfield.
Thanks for filling in there, Lorcan. Went right behind the camera for me, and I couldn't quite see it. But Oso now bringing it up the far sideline, swinging across to Fraser in the middle. Points to the end zone, looks for the hammer, throws the hammer, trusting in Lynn to get that. Well-earned trust. Fraser to Lynn, two players that have been topping the scoreboard for Oso all week, have done it again. Another break for Oso.
And that shot showing the confidence he has in his receiver, showing the belief and trust that he thinks Lynn is as safe as houses before the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act, at least. Anyway, phenomenal read. Big effort by the defensive player, but at the end of the day, sometimes all you can do is say, that's too accurate, that's going to sail right over me.
Lynn leading the scoreboard for Oso with whopping 10 assists and 5 goals. Fraser with the assist on that one, 8 assists and 2 goals, just nipping at his heels, trying to catch him for top scorer on this team.
So you can really see how Lynn and Fraser are the linchpins of this offense. We come across that quite a lot in these divisions. There's generally a handful of players who really define the team's offense, and those are definitely two major figures on this El Oso side.
Fradella with the pull. Birds of Paradise looking to get their first score on the board here in this game.
So we'll see, are they going to keep trying to just hit those unders, up rushes, and deep shots?
That was a beautiful cut by Salzman. It's up to Wayan. Huge flick hawk, looking good, and that is completed by Holt in the end zone. Birds of Paradise are on the scoreboard.
Really nice flick hawk, taking its time, sailing all the way across. Najo Wayan, very impressive player, and showing his calm, his composure to set that on up for the easy score.
That was a really nice clean offense that we saw from Birds of Paradise, just working it up that open side. Well-timed and well-set-up cuts, loads of space for their cutters, and that was just aired out absolutely beautifully into the waiting hands of Holt.
So a response from Birds of Paradise when you were worried that El Oso might be about to run away with this game a little bit, as they have had a habit of doing in their first game at this power pool. So nice, calming, refocus. We haven't had too much in the way of the elements invading this matchup, but when they have been coming to the fore today, that would have been a downwind score. So they need to get one early, because as we like to acknowledge here in Ireland, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. And honestly, it's been sunny and without wind for a bit too long for me to not be nervous.
Right you are, Lorcan. Birds of Paradise are going to have to come down with a pretty good D here. We'll need to get those breaks back nice and early. Lynn on the sideline. Finds Figueroa. An unfortunate turn now.
Looks for him, doesn't quite find him in the end.
Birds of Paradise will have their chance for a break. Should meet the disc. Great catch under pressure by a falling Quisenberry with a flick hop just out of the reach of the intended receiver.
Sujic made one hell of an effort for a throw that he didn't know was being thrown at him until it was already been in the air for 2 seconds. Trusting your receiver is one thing, relying on them to be prescient is quite another.
That was a really nice bid by Sugianto. Nice leading pass. Back to Lynn. We had a poach there that Macho managed to throw around. Also a foot block. What a nice block by Chin.
Shi Min Chin putting her foot down.
Agnes over to Chin. Agnes finds a streaking Sugio into the end zone, Sugianto, but it will be picked off by Sarah Hill.
Really great awareness by Hill. Notice what was happening, peeled off her player.
Huge flick hawk from Lynn. He saw that player go Camacho with the great kneeling grab. Plays it safe and returns it to Blanco so the rest of their team can set up in the end zone. Lynn now looking for that give and go, but we find Kim now back with the disc, and a lot of quick movement from this Oso team as they try to find an open player in the end zone, and another point on the scoreboard for Lynn as he cuts from the back of the stack.
Lynn is really showing why he's the stat leader of this team. He seems nigh untouchable. But credit where credit is due, that was about that inside flick break that got it across and into the middle in the waiting hands of Efrain Garcia, who then finished off the shot. Really nice play by Communidad El Oso, and I just think that they are showing a bit more depth, a bit more expansiveness. This is the flick break I was talking about. It all begins with Miguel Blanco getting that across nicely into the hands of Garcia, Camacho, and then who else but Lynn. And you know, I'm actually quite a big fan of the gentle spike.
That's a nice little celebration dance from Lynn.
So, a big score. I just think it's because, I would call it big because of the way they're scoring. I just feel like they're more comfortable on the disc. They're not forcing as many things. I don't think Blanco was forced into that flick. I think he saw a window and went, I can hit that all day, which is different to desperation shots. And I just feel there's a little bit of desperation in the way the Birds of Paradise are playing offense.
You're not wrong. And also I want to add, when he hits Camacho right outside the end zone, it's so easy for Camacho to just turn and look at the first streaking player into the end zone. But he turns around, looks for the dump. Anyway, we do have Birds of Paradise bringing it up the field. A nice kneeling sliding grab from Salzman. Looking for her reset. Sheridan up the line. And back again to Salzman. Birds of Paradise called and answered.
That is much more like it. All the way down the open side, really smoothly. One or two of those throws a little bit forced, but I think more because they trusted the receiver rather than they were afraid that their opportunity would disappear. So a good, strong response. That's one bird call that they're going to hope will carry through the rest of this evening.
They are still going to need a couple of breaks to catch up to Oso at this point. But from the clean offensive points that we have seen from Birds of Paradise, it certainly is possible. They just need to get that break.
I'm not a huge fan of that lefty backhand. It worked, but it could have just as easily been a flick. And to me, if you pull that off early in a game, you're going to be tempted to try it later on, and it's going to get D'd. Then again, I am a little bit bigoted against the left-handed people.
I don't mind a lefty backhand in the right situation. I would agree that I don't think that situation merited a lefty backhand. I usually would reserve the lefty backhand for a dish to a handler to my left side rather than going for that righty flick, which is so difficult. Lynn now with the disc for Oso, seeing a bit of a vertical stack. And that huge flick huck comes out again, but it is under the bidding reach.
Huge effort by Molly Robbins. So close to it. And when you're willing to take flight and you're against the birds, you gotta be willing to crash and burn too. Probably left a couple of the remaining years of her life on the ground after that one.
We have Birds coming up. Chance for a break again here. A really classic triangle horizontal play from Birds. And a huge huck again. Beautiful catch in the end zone. That was a lovely huck from Andrew Riggs. Well read and well sought after by Handy Annie.
And that play could have come straight out of UL's library because it was textbook. They set it up, set up the triangle, and then it just cuts to the open side. They're force-feeding me my own words at this point when I said they looked desperate. That looked controlled. That looked confident. That looked like the kind of play that's going to carry them through and into the lead. Exactly the response you wanted, especially considering it was a D-line that did it. A D-line set play working that well. I'd never heard of it before, and that's why you have to bring international teams to these kind of tournaments.
And we have a tied score now. I think Oso still up 1 break, but Birds just proving that they do have the D-line that can turn and take advantage of those breaks.
Really impressive. I mean, I don't want to harp on, but it's pretty anti-stereotypical to have a D-line with offensive ability like that. That was smooth and assured, with 2 things I rarely associate with D-line offense. That was close.
Oso now. A couple of catches under pressure, but Oso maintained possession.
It's an interesting, slightly arrowhead zone, slightly poachy play by the Birds of Paradise.
Harris with the huge huck to the end zone. And that is easily intercepted by Banyas. Just read that like a book. And answers with a flick huck of his own. And what a great catch by Birds of Paradise. That was Katie Holt again with that great read and catch. And then a smooth finish into the end zone. Mara Salzman with that score.
And
just a great continue.
It just goes to show you how important it is that you pay attention in school, because the literacy of this Birds of Paradise team coming to the fore. First off with that defensive trap, and then that huge grab under a lot of pressure, just reading the disc correctly. And then this is just standard swing, 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 hit the front corner of the end zone. Great offense. Birds of Paradise looking very assured with who they are. That deep shot, brilliant body position, brilliant read, and really impressive to take that down.
I think the defender even had a piece of that, and when you can still concentrate under that kind of pressure, even after the defense gets a piece of that and read that disc well and have the confidence to still have that catch, that is impressive.
So Birds of Paradise have now stolen a bit of a march on their opponents and gone up 4-3. We'll see how they respond now.
James Sheridan with the pull, Fraser to pick up. Hill with the disc. Up to Van Hofwegen. And a great aware D by Karen Chaliff. Weigh in. Sheridan finds an open Simpson in the middle there. Weigh in now with the disc on the sideline. Finds an around backhand, and a jump into the end zone by Karen Chaliff gives her a double happiness, or in other words, true bookends from end zone to end zone.
And Karen Chaliff, the assistant principal, or vice principal as it may be known, is taking the Communidad team to school as they are forced to call a timeout after that brilliant double happiness point. Great D jumping the lane, getting in there, and then again working that open side, but working it with well-structured, clean cuts that just sets up these opportunities. Arc it around, hops it in, and El Oso, one of their players indicated us they wanted a timeout, but it seems like it didn't make it around the rest of the squad as they are back out there. 5-3 down. I'd like to see them change things up a little bit. They were in a very commanding position, and they're after conceding 4 points in a row.
Well, we've got a couple of their big players back on the pitch now. Lynn and Hill. We'll see if they can come up with a response.
I worry that they're going to try and shoot their way back into this game. And I feel like if they tried to revert a bit more to the kind of break-based offense, the dumping and swinging that we saw Blanco do so well, as he lines up on the near sideline, and just reap more rewards for them.
Lynn. Over to Williams. stifling Birds of Prey offense.
Blanco maybe wanted a bit too much with that leading dump.
Sheridan now with the disc. And a round forehand finds another player in the end zone, and that will be another break for Birds of Paradise. I will be surprised if Oso doesn't take a timeout now.
You have to. I think Mara Saltzman was on the receiving end of that. It's a little difficult to tell. Some of the numbers look similar from distance, but if it was, she's been shredding them all game. That's number 11 for Birds of Paradise. Already got 2 scores to her name and 5 points in a row for the Indonesian squad. Surely. No, Communidad. El Oso want to get right back out there, which is admirable in some regards, debatable in others.
They are really trusting in their O squad right now to put one away for them and get back into this game that they started off so strongly.
So it is 4 females.
Female matching players.
Correct. I apologize.
It's a long phrase, but an important one.
But a very important one, exactly. Everybody is welcome here, as is the slogan of VC, providing the best quality clothing apparel for Ultimate Player since 1998.
Fraser with the disc. Oh, and just couldn't keep it in her hands. Unfortunate drop there for Sarah Hill.
Maybe getting her feet tangled as she had to go to the floor. And they just seem ever so slightly off, these El Oso passes.
Shaw. Drew now. Back to Shaw. Salzman with the big huck to the end zone. But our receiver will get a little bit of a bump there.
If those are hand signals, that was just a foul uncontested. That, yeah, certainly looks like that. I think you could see getting position was, yeah, foul uncontested, getting position and then just taking a little bit of a bump and immediately.
So she does get to take it right outside the end zone line. Karen Chaliff. And a nice pop in again to Mara Salzman for another break.
So Salzman just can't be stopped. And neither can the Birds of Paradise right now. You have to take a timeout at some point, but they'll also seem to just want to run this one through. And I mean, what's the definition of insanity?
I believe it is doing the same thing over and over again and not receiving another outcome, something like that.
Oh, I thought it was talking to the mirror and then having the mirror talk back. So I'm okay then.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful news. But you know who's not okay right now? El Oso. They are in some trouble, and now they call the timeout. You can see the call come back around.
I think that is a very good idea from Oso. They definitely need to switch something up here. They've got that, the game's gotten just a little bit away from them, and as they take a break, so will we. And we are back after a quick timeout. I'm hoping that Orso came up with a few ideas to stifle the Birds of Prey.
it'd be tough to work out a specific strategy, I think, because a lot of the times what's been letting them down is just a slight drop in focus leading to a drop in the disc. I think structurally they've been quite sound for the most part. A couple of errant throws, maybe over-ambitious deep shots, but we've seen what they can pull off when it's working, when they're executing correctly, and it just seems like mis-executions that admittedly the Birds of Paradise have pounced upon, or case and point. And Birds of Paradise with a chance right in front of the end zone to take this one away for half.
And it looks like Next will be picking up the disc. I apologize if I'm a little slow on the number read. They are a little difficult to read.
We also apologize if we get the names wrong for some of these Birds of Paradise players. That's not our fault. That could have easily been an 8 or a 9. Unfortunately, it was neither, and it was also not a score, so a rare wasted possession for the D-line of Birds of Paradise.
They'll also now have a chance, thankfully, to get it back. Hoffwigan. Lynn. And that will be a run through D. Andrew Riggs. Riggs picking up now his own D. And there may be an injury. Yes, there is an injury on the field. So one thing I've noticed Birds of Prey doing is they really like to utilize that open side a lot. So possibly one thing that Oso could do is really shut down and clamp down on those open side unders and really force Birds of Prey to start looking to that break side.
Well, I really like, especially if you see a team pull off a lot of set plays or a lot of clearly structured, here's our first look style of offense, is just flashing poaches into the space. And I like to flash poaches off either a nearby cutter or front of stack, especially if you're going against 2-5, a lot of set plays come out of that. And then as you flash that poach, just yelling, no break, no break. So the mark knows, I've left a gap here, I need you to cover it. And just that half second is enough to blow up some of these set plays.
Banyas in the middle now, back to Riggs. Quisenberry. Finding Simpson, but a turnover, and there may be a call on the play. Yes, a foul was called. So that will return to the thrower. Coming in at 0, so it was uncontested. Dumps it back to Banyas. A huge flick huck. Beautiful grab in the end zone by Chin. Wonderful read coming through her mark there to be able to get that and just catching it in the breadbasket.
Shi Min Chin, an ever-present, always impressive receiver, getting free in the end zone, catching that one for the score. Really reliable and really keeps her composure but no matter the defensive pressure. That's the second time we've seen her pull off a difficult grab under duress like that in this game. As we have one more look at this big arcing deep shot. You can see the defender's right there, but Chin holds position, holds her nerve, and helps take half. 8-3 to the power of the Birds of Paradise. So we're just going to fly off for a couple of minutes and we will be back with the second half.
have the disc. Andreas, that's why you have the disc. Awesome. Yeah. We can't save us around the goal.
And welcome back to the sunniest game we've seen thus far in Limerick at the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. If you are just joining us now, we have two fantastic teams joining us on the pitch. We have Birds of Paradise all the way from Indonesia. The first time that Indonesia has ever sent a team to a Worlds event. They are just growing their ultimate community.
And we couldn't be happier to have them here. They're putting in quite an impressive performance against Oso. it's, as I was saying before the half, when you're looking for things Oso can change to try and get back into this game, it just seems to me like maybe tightening it up. But I would suggest that maybe if they got a little bit more support, maybe in our live chat, that could really be used to galvanize them. So I'm seeing a couple of people coming in with the Vamos Oso. So let's see, let's raise that spirit. We can feel that energy. This is a magical place, just like you are back home. Feel it. Send it all the way across the Atlantic, just like it's that mid-Atlantic drift, bringing that beautiful Gulf of Mexico warmth up here to Ireland, and the sun shining. Let's see if Oso can respond in kind.
Sheridan with that big pull, centering the disc to Lynn. Robin's getting a bit looked off on our open undercut, but that was to the break side. Just shows you how good that mark is from Pashley. Over to Lynn on the open side. And an around break, an interesting throw tries to Ferdella. Blanco in the middle, a wide open yard gainer. Back to Lynn. Lynn looking for the end zone, finding Ferdella, streaking down the open side, and a nice read and grab.
Much improved offensive output by El Oso, but I'd say the main improvement was, without trying to sound too callous, they caught their discs. Those were great throws, great cuts. That one missing ingredient has been securing possession before moving on to the next stage, and that's what they did right there. I mean, Lynn as well, obviously the driving force of this El Oso side, and when you see him get the disc in even a shrapnel of a power position like that one, you know he's going to try and uncork it, send it deep, and the streaking figure of Kenneth Ferdella is something that's hard to turn down in any situation.
And just a big shout out right now to Oso's sponsor. Get this, Mundo Unico, who they claim to be the best men's underwear in the world.
Wow, well, as someone who's rather unfamiliar with that concept, I'll just take their word for it.
Are you telling me you're going commando, Lorcan?
I'm insinuating. So El Oso respond appropriately with an offensive hold. Here comes the big pull. We've seen them get a handful of turns, but they're really going to have to tighten up and maybe flash a bit more into that open side, like you were saying, to dislodge this offense.
Way in. Up to Holt. Back to Wayan. And he lets one rip. But Oso will come down with that disc.
Oh, and there's the crucial turn.
Birds of Paradise with the run through D.
So El Oso not able to capitalize initially, and now they're going to have to play some hot end zone offense. I mean, that is some live ammunition that Birds of Paradise are going to be using right on the line.
That was Guerin with the D to Riggs, now picking up, and an easy flip pop pass into the end zone.
That's when you should use a left-hand backhand. That's exactly, you come for the up the line rush, you need to pop it a little bit, maybe a little bit of a high release. A flick's going to come out with too much snap, it's harder to control. That's the exact situation you use a left-hand backhand. Beautifully executed and indicative, I think, of the Birds of Paradise technical skill being just a little bit above El Oso's.
And that was Betsy Bash with the well-timed cut from the front of the stack.
And the big-time D as well, coming in the form of Stephen Guerin.
Just such confidence on that pop pass from Riggs. Clearly practicing that lefty backhand that you usually loathe, but in this case love.
That's literally like the one situation where I think it's an appropriate throw. Unless you are left-handed, in which case, enjoy going to hell. No, that's an old inside joke amongst the Irish community. We used to be pretty harsh to the left-handed people. We, of course, welcome everybody here and everybody throughout the community. We are so glad to have you join us on this stream. Whether you're left-handed or right-handed, Ultimate has a place for everybody.
Kim to Fidela. Figueroa up on the sideline. Siba. And a nice flick huck, but unfortunately will not be completed. Banyas just gets in the way. Huge backhand huck, just lets her rip. Couple of bodies underneath this one, and Lynn will come down with that for Oso.
Delicately as well, very conscious, great body control. You love to see it in the mixed division. You love to see split flicks like that. Was that? Yeah, magnifico Figaro.
Pick was called, and so the disc will go back to Figueroa. Looking for a streaking Lynn up line. Wants to use that power position, holsters it, and finds another avenue. Jennifer sent me Kim in the end zone.
And again, once Lynn gets into that power position, that gunslinger is looking to shoot. And he does so with great accuracy. I thought the initial move by Birds of Paradise was really nice to shut it down, as we're going to have another look here. There's the big shot. Sorry, the big shot coming. So good job shutting down the under, but then miscommunication when you try to peel off and poach that open side, leaving two El Oso players in the end zone. So it's good work initially, stepping across, great recognition on the defensive end. Really nicely done. I think that's Garrett Simpson, who's drawn the short straw and is going to have to try and mark Lynn. But couldn't hold him there for the whole time.
El Oso, a nearly 20-year-old club now. They were founded way back in 2003.
Wow. So just showing you how deep Ultimate runs in some of the communities that you may overlook.
Van Hofwegen with that pull. Sugianto had a nice open undercut there, unfortunately just double cut by his teammate, so wasn't able to get off to him. But Birds of Paradise still keeping it alive. Riggs now. Big gainer. This time Sugianto gets the disc. They really like to use that far sideline. Riggs now centering and a swing. And a beautiful continuation, necked, throwing that pass to Curtin in the end zone.
Really, really well done. Smooth, calm, controlled offense. Just swing, 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 slice into the end zone. And again, Birds of Paradise, they're doing the fundamentals right, which speaks to both their disc skills, their knowledge of the game, and then their knowledge of each other. That was actually a rather cheeky little backhand break. I thought it was just continuing around. So really good job by the defense to try and shut down that option, but just better disc skills to get the shot off.
Both teams really playing and utilizing that open side, really working hard to get those undercuts on that open side. Not a lot of shots to the break side, but when Birds of Paradise really do try to use and work around to the break side, that was just a nice, easy work into the end zone.
Well, I think that's something Birds of Paradise are doing really well out of these open side undercuts, is swinging and using their body and their movement to get across to the break side. So by setting up this undershots, catching it and then quickly popping out to another person, you don't have to take on the break with your throw so much. You can just take it on with the energy you've already exerted with your movement. But that's hard. That takes a lot of structure.
Fraser to collect to Blanco. And up to Robbins. Back to Blanco. And to Fraser. Puts up the huck. Looking for Robbins and finds her in the end zone. Beautiful point from Oso.
I expected to see a lot more of that, and we've seen Robbins get overshot once or twice already in this game, but that time it was right on the money. She's originally from Maine, playing with this Oso side. She's got a lot of experience playing with teams all across America, especially in Utah Golden Spike. Also, I'm using the Spanish America here as well, by which I refer to it as one continent, because she plays the Utah Golden Spike, Buenos Aires Cadillacs, as well as Stockholm Valkyria, a team that I would actually be much more familiar with than those other ones. That says her national experience was Sweden EUF 2019, just showing that experience, showing that skill. She's gotten free deep a lot of times. That was one of the times they managed to find her with an accurate pass.
And it was a really nice pass by Carl Fraser, showing why he is also one of the top stat keeper or scoreboard leaders for El Oso.
We've got a great point in the chat, which is left-handed backhands happen a lot because so many people force right-handed flick, which is very true.
Riggs to Sheridan. A sliding catch and a huge huck to the end zone, but will not be completed.
But again, you can see their structure when they move. So much space and only one person cutting into it to get that under. And the turn shot to the end zone, it was on. The execution wasn't quite there, but the way they are generating space and the way they are using it is incredibly impressive by Birds of Paradise.
Just calculated cutting, textbook cutting that we're seeing from Birds of Paradise.
I'm going to just put out one more call. Let us know in the chat, who are you cheering for? Communidad El Oso. They need some of that energy right now as they try to work their way back into this game and up the field.
Alvaro with that near drop, but manages to hold on to it. Huge layout grab. Amazing bid by Sheridan. And we have the rule of 11 taking effect there, or the conservation of greatness.
There's only so brilliant you can be.
Kaiser now with the disc for Oso. And a missed pass to Alfaro in the middle will be another turnover.
Kind of clumping the open side and forcing these difficult break throws.
Riggs now picking up. Bach on the break side. Finds her just inside the corner of the end zone, and that will be another score for Birds of Paradise.
Beautiful break. Straight cut, straight to the corner. It's a tough one to stop, especially if you're on the defensive end. There's only so much you can do, but it's just showing the depth of the disc skills Birds of Paradise have. They can break the mark when they want to. For the most part, though, it's structure, it's movement, it's teamwork, and knowing each other. So really impressive performance by the Indonesian side in their inaugural appearance here on Irish shores.
And their main goal for the tournament and for
Let's
this
just really
team.
quickly enjoy this. Oh! Damn! And fortunately for the highlights, we're not going to show what happened afterwards. We'll just have another look at this quick fire break throw. Well weighted and waited for to make sure she was in the end zone for the score.
And that's a really smart move by Bash there. She could have caught it earlier just outside the end zone, but recognizing that her D was behind her and realizing that she had a little bit more time, she milked that disc just into the front corner of the end zone for the score. Really smart move.
Really nice pull as well, as gets a little bit of a wind assist.
Centers the disc to Lynn. Seba. A diving bid, but it is still caught by Blanco under pressure. Lynn up the line to Seba, who throws up a big huck, but it will be picked off.
I like that shot, but was dropping all the time and into the defender, trying to carry it over them, couldn't quite do it.
One-handed grab by Simpson. Birds of Paradise really just waiting for their good chances to open up. And again, I was going to say another example of some clean offensive work, cutting one at a time, but a little bit of a missed pass there. And Oso will now have another chance. Lynn walking to pick up. Waits for Kim to get open, and a nice continuation pass. Oso with another score.
And that's a great little play by Oso. When they're able to move the disc quickly, they're able to score. Birds of Paradise, what they do so well is they shut down that first option, and that tends to lead Oso to gum up. Their second look, their third look, they're not quite as clean as that first look. But if they can get away with that first look, that's when they seem smooth and silky, playing that one into the end zone. So 11-7. I think they need to keep this kind of moving the disc quickly. Try not to get so stagnant. Try not to get so caught once the first option's down. Just go to the dump and look for it again. It might be the way to respond to the incredible structure Birds of Paradise have.
Well, that run of breaks that Birds of Paradise had in the first half is what is really giving them the advantage in the second half. We haven't seen any breaks at all in the second half yet.
So showing El Oso, they can hang with Birds of Paradise. They are able to get these scores. Not a huge amount of turnovers either in the second half as they've cleaned up their act. So really it does beg the question, should they have called that timeout a little bit sooner in the first half?
Ferdella with that pull to the front corner, centering the disc to Riggs.
So much space.
Guerin with that huge gainer. A little bit of a floaty pass, but Necht gets under it. Great catch under pressure. Another yard gainer by Chalif. Katie Holt just working hard all the way up the field for Birds of Paradise. Find themselves just outside the end zone, and unfortunately right outside the reach of Mara Salzman.
So that one just bouncing off the edge of her cuticles and into the ground, but everything apart from that was fantastic. Just undercut after undercut. Some of them were straight runs that could have been defended better, but the initial play with the 3-4 start and two people clearing out, one of them coming back under, gives so much space to get your play, to get your offense started.
Ferdella with the disc now.
Something Oso could really do with.
Merrick with that kneeling catch under pressure. Kaiser. Holly Lynn now. And a huge hand block from Karen Chalif, and there will be no call on that. What a great block. Let's see that again.
How about no? Chalif slamming the door shut.
Next pick up now. Riggs. A nice little I-O flick into the end zone. That's my favorite throw right there. Beautiful finish.
I mean, if it always looked that good, it would be my favorite throw too. Briggs with an incisive laser straight to the front corner. Really beautiful work by Birds of Paradise. And once again, those disc skills really on display. As you can see, just a quick dump back, taking their time, pulls his force all the way across and lets his force get settled just a little bit more. Wha-bam!
And that will be double happiness right there for Karen Chalif with the beautiful hand block and then the score.
I think you've got to throw it to the person who got the hand block when it's that close to the end zone. And that was an emphatic hand block. We've seen a lot of hand blocks. There are ones that are just the tips of the fingers. There's just a slight touch, a poke, a prod, if you will. That was a slap in the disc. As Ben Banyas launches that one. Ben Banyas, a big advocate for mental health and in Ultimate and abroad. His hashtag throw every day.
Big flick huck. Blanco right into the end zone. Just sees his intended receiver going straight to the end zone from the back of that stack, launches it for him, and finds him believe that was Sugianto in the end zone for that great read and catch.
Blanco using live ammunition on that shot. One throw, one score. I mean, why not just do that every time, Troy?
Maybe because they're not wide open all the time?
That's an excellent point, and a part of that is down to the speed. Really impressive run. Maybe Birds of Paradise a little bit asleep, taking a nap as, yeah, the defense hadn't even gotten there. And they knew what they wanted straight away. Really great shot. And then
oh, that was Camacho, pardon me, for the score.
So Camacho with a score and an assist so far in this game. Communidad El Oso still trying to fight their way back into it. They're not going to be able to do it trading points until the end, though, as Birds of Paradise are on 12, 3 away. Plenty of time, loads of time. Not a whole lot of space on the scoreline. They got to start getting breaks now as Lynn goes with a big pull. The wind is kicking back up as well, so not an ideal situation for them.
Riggs finds a nice gainer up the field. Sheridan. Back to Riggs. Looks off the swing, choosing to keep it in the middle of the field, but Sugianto can't hold on to the disc. And Lynn will come and pick up. Oso with a chance for a break, which they really need.
And they need it now.
Great D there by Riggs, but Fraser manages to get open on him. But his intended receiver, Echeverry, can't quite reach that high disc. Sheridan now. Up to Chin. And back around to Sheridan. Looks for that continue on the break side, but chooses a flick huck instead, and Lynn will knock that out of the air and out of the reach of Seaberg.
I think that Seaberg got better position for that one. I was surprised he wound up losing the battle. Lynn got up, but out of position. Also with another chance to get this crucial break.
Riggs with the, Echeverry with the diving catch. Delgado. And Lynn. Finds Fraser calling off a poach. Delgado. Back to Fraser. And Lynn on the sideline looking for something deeper.
Something with meaning?
Deep within his soul.
That's where you've got to find the answers. And for all those souls joining us on the live stream, we're so glad to have you with us. But you got to lift your teams right now. Birds of Paradise might look like they're flying away with it, but right now they're all aflutter as Oso make their way down the pitch searching for a break.
Great undercut there by Delgado, but instead Lynn chooses to air one out to Fraser. Reaches for it, but just off the tips of his fingers.
Really well read. Not easy as well as this wind is starting to bluster back at him. That's a tough one.
These two really being stalwarts of the Oso offense. I know why they're trusting in one another. And it looks like Birds of Paradise will call a timeout. So we will take a short break as well.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch,
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe. Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
and
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world
And
and
beyond.
beyond.
And the disc has been tapped in after a timeout, and a huge huck right off the gate, and a reaching arms just outside the grasp of Sugianto.
He turned on the burners, but probably needed to bid to complete that.
Fraser up to Kaiser. Back to Lynn and to Fraser. Over the hands of Kim. And a nice and easy turn once they got the D from Birds of Paradise.
That's so hard to deal with. Going into the wind, it's tough enough. Gets that little pop over your intended receiver. To have conceded as many points as they did in the first half when the wind wasn't as much of a factor, to now have to try and claw back that lead and fight the elements, it's almost like you're going 7 versus 8. And then just to keep piling on the pressure, Birds of Paradise again showing their incredible disc skills, their incredible inherent knowledge that I think comes from the deep experience each of these players has, perhaps not as much playing with each other, but certainly just playing in general, because this team just keeps doing the fundamentals right.
And we got to attribute some of those yards that they just gained from that initial huck with Sugianto just on the burners there. I think that huck came from Riggs. Huge yard gainer there. Even if it wasn't completed, they managed to get a lot of field position with that.
I certainly feel justified whenever I see people in using the huck and D style of defense and offense, because it just justifies the way I lived most of my Ultimate career.
Why does that not surprise me?
Because I'm a very predictable person. As that one's gonna, oh, spicy choice.
And a spicy grab. Oh, a huge bid. Unfortunately, just out of the reach. Birds of Paradise now a chance for the first break of the second half. Pashley. Big gainer up to Handy Annie. Oh, a hand block, but it will still be completed. Simpson with the run-through catch.
I like the little nod exchange after that attempted layout bid. No, it's cool. No foul. Just keep playing.
Salzman now with the disc on the sideline. Chalif. It will be caught in the end zone. Nice kneeling catch.
Chalif
Beautiful.
is something else. Such a force. Defensively, we've seen her get a massive hand block, the kind of hand block that can't be rescued, unlike, unfortunately, for Oso, what happened earlier in that point. On top of that, we've seen her be on the receiving end of some big shots, and that time she's dishing it out. Chalif is having herself a game. Beautiful spacing, beautiful weight, and you have to be careful because Molly Robbins was in the vicinity, and that woman will put her ribs on the line if you give her the slightest reason to. It doesn't even need to be that close of a chance. So phenomenal throw by Chalif.
But for Katie Holt, an easy sliding catch in that end zone. Just beautifully read and finished off that point. And that was our first break of the second half.
And that might be the point that breaks Oso. 1 point away from ending this game. They needed to start the fight back. They needed really to try and lock in on the upwind that they had themselves. And Birds of Paradise instead coming out here. And again, it's a lot of that open side based attack. It's a lot of just really good throwing, good technique, and experience coming to the fore.
Banyas with a really nice pull for Birds. Centers the disc to Lynn now for Oso. Kaiser. Van Hofwegen. Paris. Back to Kaiser. And to Lim in the center. Van Hofwegen and back to Kaiser. Looking through traffic, a miscommunication between Kaiser and Lynn. Lynn patting his chest saying, my bad there. And that will force Birds of Paradise for another break point, maybe.
If you're going to make a cut, commit to it. And that's something we see Birds of Paradise do over and over again as Benyus goes deep.
Quisenberry. Forced to look for her reset. Too many dumps in the kitchen though, but a chin in the end zone. Kaiser will pick that off. Figueroa. And to Kim. But another picked off high disc gives the Birds of Paradise back the disc. Banyas.
I don't love how far off the Birds of Paradise or the Oso defenders are being from these handlers. I really think they need to tighten up and put some more pressure on them.
Like that? A diving Lim can't quite stop it, and we will find our final point. Birds of Paradise in the end zone with that nice, smooth offense after that bidding Lynn couldn't quite get his hands on it. A beautiful finish to this game.
Really, really impressive stuff from the Birds of Paradise. You can see why they're now top of their pool and why they will be hunting the highest finish they can get in this, their inaugural appearance at a WFDF event, certainly here in Europe. We welcome them with open arms. Commiserations to Oso, especially to Lynn for that Herculean bid. And something I really want to point out about Lynn is, because he did have a few of these bids, all of them were clean as if he just hopped out of the shower. That is body control, and that is a crucial thing that doesn't get praised quite enough at these really high-level, intense World Club Championship events. So big ups to Lynn, to the whole Oso team. Really high-spirited game, very enjoyable. At the end of the day, the disc skills, structure, and execution of Birds of Paradise saw them through 15-8.
And that was a really nice finish to this game today, and a really nice finish for the day, I have to say. But we will be back tomorrow for plenty more action on pitches 2 and 3. So tune in to our Copyright 2022 World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. It is all free all day. Thank you very much, folks, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
TV.